Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you have an essay due soon and you are absolutely stuck and you just want to get something down, but you don't even know where to begin, this video is going to transform your experience, okay? Now, I've spoken about essay writing and academic writing so much on this channel. I have a ton of videos that you can watch, but I was just thinking about what has not been done before. Like, what have I not seen in the essay writing, academic writing space that could help you? And that is writing using an essay writing template. Now, I have spent days developing this essay writing template, which is how many pages long? It's 8 pages long. It's 8 pages long, and it literally guides you from step 1, from the essay title, to doing your research, to finding the topics that you want to talk about, to structuring your essay, all the way till the end. That includes like words and phrases and sentence starters and vocabulary, all the way through. So in today's video, I'm going to be running through the start to the end of writing an essay using my essay writing template, which I'm going to leave the link for down below. So if you do want to grab it, feel free to use the link down below to get your essay writing template. And you can use it in a few different ways. You can obviously download it, print it out as I have, and then just use this for every new essay that you have, or you can download it to like GoodNotes or something like Notability or your iPad and write on it like that. So let's get started. Let's start off with the task checklist. I'm going to leave it over here so you can see as I go along. So the task checklist for writing an essay. The essay writing process has 4 main parts. The first part is scheduling and planning. So, you've got the essay, what do you do? The second part is writing, the third part is editing, and then the fourth is submission, right? So let's start from the planning section. So I've got a whole checklist here that you tick off as you go along, and that means that you're not going to skip a step, and it means that you're going to actually get what you need to get done, and you're not going to miss anything out. The first thing you want to do is read the essay brief really carefully. The number of times I've gotten work to check and it's not the right word length, or it's not even the right topic, or it's not focusing on the right things, it's quite shocking. So firstly, start off by reading the essay brief so you know what it is that you actually have to do. Highlight it, circle it, underline, take out key points so you know exactly what you are supposed to produce. And then you want to schedule a timetable for completing this essay. Right, so you want to say, okay, so my deadline is in 3 weeks time. Hopefully you have more than a few days. My deadline is in a few weeks time, or it's in 1 week time, whatever it is. What do I want to do on each of these days? And then you want to select an essay title, do research on the topic, read any suggested papers, do independent reading, brainstorm the ideas, and get the structure for the essay. So that's the scheduling planning section. Then you want to start writing. And in this section, I've done a checklist for things like writing an introduction, using linking sentences, making sure that you are being analytical and not just descriptive. So if you look back at what you've written, make sure that you're not just describing things and describing concepts or theories, but actually analyzing them and going into a bit of critical depth. Things like keeping the word count into the word count, referencing everything, adding sources that are original. This is all part of the writing checklist. Then I've gone on to editing. So editing includes things like making sure that your diagrams are labeled, making sure your referencing is all done correctly, you've looked at the mark scheme, you've read the essay brief carefully, and that's all parts of editing. And obviously submitting it to the Page Doctor, which is my kind of tutoring company for university and mentoring. And lastly, it's ready to submit. For this, actually, you think that the submission process is quite short, but it does take a bit of thinking about making sure that you have it in the right format, you've got the correct cover page, you've got your name, your university, student number, you've got your title, and you've actually submitted it correctly. So that's all part of the checklist. That's page 1. Moving on to page 2, I have a how to use guide. So what I've done is I've given you a full essay template. So I've left boxes on the next page for exactly what it is that you want to complete. But what I've done before that is tell you what should actually go into these sections. So first you have the essay title. Now your essay title should be around 12 words, that's if you haven't been given one already, but if you have been given one, then it should be around 12 words. And that should really be quite catchy, should summarize exactly what it is that you're speaking about, and reflect the tone and the piece of work. Then moving on, you've got the introduction. Now the introduction should be split up into 3 main sections. The first is a general statement, the second is a thesis statement, and the third is an organizational statement. Now I've marked thousands of pieces of work. And I can say that the number of organizational statements that I've seen are very few. And when I see that, I automatically think amazing. So an organizational statement is like the last sentence or two of your introduction. And what I've said is that it introduces the point that you're going to make, and it actually kind of says what you are going to say. So it gives you a little bit of a kind of sneak peek into what you're going to actually conclude, and it summarizes the ideas in the order that's actually going to appear in your essay, which is really important. The next is the main body. Now the main body is the bulk of your essay, and what I've done is I've said first main point, then link sentence, then second main point, and keep going like that. The first main point, and all the main points actually, should include 4 different sections. The first section is a topic sentence, then you have some supporting evidence, then you've got analysis, and then you've got your concluding sentence. So essentially what you have is you've a bit of a, like when when you're in school, you had your PEL, so point, evidence, explanation, and link. The same kind of thing. You've got your main point, what is it? Then you've got your evidence, what you're using to describe. Then you have your analysis, and you want to conclude it with a concluding sentence. Then, and again, this is a key thing that people always miss out, is the transitional link. Linking from point 1 to point 2. So I've included that in all of the templates to make sure that you actually make that point, to make sure that you actually include that, and it's really, really clear. And then obviously your second point and the third point as you go along. And then lastly, you have your conclusion. And your conclusion is a summary, making sure that you don't repeat your points, but you kind of like summarize them in a way that's concise and that states the direction that you are kind of, I guess, going down with your essay. So that's the how to use guide. Then I've got a brainstorm map. So as you're thinking about your essay, I've done a bit of a map here where you can write down what the points are and kind of have some thoughts as you're doing your research. Then I have the actual template. So this is the template. It's completely blank. So as you can see, I've left space for you to fill it in. You've got your main body, and then what I've included on the side are citations and critical discussion points. Now, what I want you to do is, as you're thinking about your ideas in the main body, I want you to really think about the citations and the references that are going in there. And the reason why this box is not that big is because I want you to have 1 to 3 main citations that are going into each of the ideas, but obviously you can have some more that support it. But naturally, when you're writing an essay, you probably have all your references on a reference manager like Mendeley or something, so there's no need to have like lots of space in the template, but you can just write down what references you are actually going to be referring to for the main point. And then I've also left a box called critical discussion points. Now this is a box that I feel like I just had to highlight because people just miss it out, and that is where your 70% comes from. That's where your 60% even comes from. Having critical discussion, having original thoughts. And so I've left a box there for you to at least think about it, and at least put something there that you think is a critical discussion point. I've got idea number 2, idea number 3, and then I've got idea number 4, and I've made idea number 4 really long because I feel like sometimes when you've got an idea that you're growing upon, so an idea that's input a bit later on, it tends to be a little bit more expanded than idea number 1, 2, and 3, simply because you are spending a little bit more discussing and maybe comparing and maybe rebuttaling what you mentioned originally. So it might be a little bit longer. If you have less ideas, feel free to just kind of delete one of those idea boxes, or if you have more ideas, feel free to like add another one, but the structure is the same. Then to end, I have 2 whole pages of word vocabulary and sentence starters that hopefully you'll be able to use in each of those sections. And I've done it in the order of the actual essay itself. So for the introduction, you might want to say something like, it is widely argued that something else. Much of the contemporary research on this topic has found that. Or you want to say, the primary emphasis of this paper is to. The purpose of this paper is to. Or if you want to indicate the paper's organization, you might want to say, the paper first analyzes something, followed by an examination of something else. And so I've written some sentence starters and vocabulary that you can use, and I think will be really, I mean, one of the key things about writing an essay is that you want to sound academic. It's not just a matter of it having the right information, but it needs to be worded in a way that is publishable. That is how you really get the 90%, is by having publishable text. So yeah, and then at the back, I've also got some main body arguments. So if you're saying that you are trying to counter argue, some readers or scholars may challenge the assertion that, and blah, blah, blah. At this point, it's necessary to address the elephant in the room, and then etc. So there are some sentence starters here that I think will be really, really useful for you. And I'll also leave a link down below for the Manchester University phrase bank list. This is not from there, but there are like a lot more there that you can use as well. So yeah, I'll leave the link for this essay checklist down below. And like I said, I really do think the essay writing space is very saturated in the sense that there's not more information. There's no more information that you can get right now, right? So all the information for writing an essay is out there, but this is the guide that you need. Like, you need to sit there. I'm literally holding your hand right now and telling you exactly what you need to do. So all you need to do is get this, get your essay, start writing your question, and actually plan it. And before you know it, like, you can probably complete this in a day, if probably less than that really. Like, if in a few hours you can probably complete this to a rough draft, and then actually start writing the essay, and you have all the information you need here and everything to back it up, and the structure you need, and the checklist. I think the checklist is probably like my biggest pride, because of like how concise it is, and you really can't miss up anything out if you follow this. So yeah, let me know if you found this useful. And like I said, I will link videos to other essay writing topics that I have, but really this is all you need. Genuinely, I wish I had this when I was writing my essays. So yeah, let me know how you found it, and I'll see you in my next video.